So tonight I say to all Americans, this is the most important election in the history of our country. There has never been such a difference between two parties or two individuals in ideology, philosophy, or vision than there is right now.
President Trump addressing a crowd of invited supporters from the White House's South Lawn, where he defended his record and spoke about the importance of the upcoming election. With the Republican National Convention now over, the president is back on the campaign trail. He is planning on holding a rally at an airport hangar in New Hampshire just over an hour or so from now.
Well, we do want to take a closer look at both the Republican and Democratic conventions. CBS 46 political analyst Dr. Rashad Richey joins us. And Rashad, now that both of them are over, do you think either of them move the needle at all?
Probably not. Let me say this. The loser here are moderate voters. Typically, during a convention, both parties try to pivot so that they can make a general case to moderate voters while at the same time maintaining their base. That is not the case today. There's an element of tribalism in politics like we have not seen in modern history. Both political conventions was about the base. It was about getting out the base. Now, in Georgia, this is interesting for Democrats because for Democrats to win in Georgia, they have to increase turnout. This is a turnout state. So a pivot to the Democratic base in the state of Georgia may not be a bad thing.
So if we're talking about the Democrats here in Georgia for a second, to keep with that theme, Rashad, how did Joe Biden do you think? And how about the Democrats' operation in the state of Georgia heading into this election season? What are you seeing and hearing?
Well, according to most Democrats, Joe Biden did an okay job. But here's the thing. There's no high expectation for Joe Biden to do anything beyond the norm because the expectation has been set pretty low. Democrats are not really voting for Joe Biden because he excites Democrats. All statistical data shows and all polling shows that they're voting for Joe Biden because he's not Donald Trump. Right now, the number one reason for Democrats to come out and vote is because it is a vote against the current president of the United States.
And what were some of the reoccurring themes? Because just reading a lot, in terms of the RNC convention, it kind of waffled back and forth in terms of how President Trump was really portrayed and how he actually is in some cases.
Yeah, this is interesting because usually there's a lot of policy discussed at these conventions. Not so much. This is a campaign about contrast. I caught up earlier today with Janelle King, and she's the former deputy state director for the Georgia GOP. And Janelle King said the RNC convention reflected America. Real people, real stories, real outcomes. To hold a convention reflecting the fantasy of America rather than the reality of America, such as the DNC convention, was a fail. Now, that's her opinion, but that opinion is not shared by those on the other side. They're looking at making not only a different method of politics, but also different outcomes, something that you have not seen in recent history in politics. Typically, the methodologies are different and the outcomes are very similar. Now you're seeing different methods and different expected outcomes between these two political parties.
Real quickly, the saying goes that nobody votes for the vice president, they're voting for the president. But we do have the first African American, Asian American female candidate on the Democratic ticket. Is there any sense at this point whether or not having Kamala Harris on the ticket is going to help turn out for Democrats here in Georgia?
Well, it's possible. The last time Democrats had a top contender on the ticket, Stacey Abrams, it did increase turnout. They had a top black female contender. It helped with turnout. So let's look at what has happened that we can prove. When Senator Harris was added on the ticket, they broke all types of fundraising records with the Biden campaign. So while we don't know if it will translate into votes, we already see that it has translated into dollars.
Dr. Rashad Richey joining us live with some analysis on both the Democratic and Republican National Committees, which are now both finished. Rashad, thank you very much. Always good to talk to you.
Thank you.